She changed the locks on my own front door while I was at the supermarket. My own daughter-in-law. When I came back with 2 bags of groceries, my key didn't fit. I knocked, and she opened the door with a smile so sweet it could rot your teeth. She said, "Oh Keith, we thought you'd gone for the day. We've upgraded the security. Here's your new key." She handed me a single key on a plain ring. No spare. That was the beginning. 3 months later, my son would shove me off my own veranda and tell me I was no longer welcome. And the morning after that, Simone would host a barbecue in my backyard, raise a glass of Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, and announce to 30 guests, the old fossil finally crawled away. "This place is ours now." She was laughing so hard she didn't hear the gate open behind her. But before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. I need to take you back to the evening it truly started. A Tuesday in late February, Hamilton summer still clinging to the air. I'd been at a retirement dinner for my colleague Brenda, 32 years at the Waikato Regional Council. Good woman. We'd shared an office for 15 years before I retired from civil engineering 4 years ago. The dinner ran late. Speeches, laughter, a few too many rounds of flat whites turned into something stronger. I drove home along River Road with the windows down, feeling content. 63 years old, mortgage paid off 20 years ago, pension sorted, life simple. Or so I thought. I pulled into the driveway at 9:15. Gavin's Uda was parked sideways, taking up half the garage. Simone's white SUV blocked the rest. I parked on the street, carried my jacket over my arm, and walked to the front door. The house was quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Held breath quiet. I stepped inside. The hallway light was off, which was unusual. I always left it on. 35 years of habit. I built this house in 1989 with my own hands and a crew of 3 mates from the council. Laid every foundation beam. Chose every Rimu panel. The hallway light stayed on because that's how I wanted it. I flicked the switch. Nothing happened. The bulb wasn't blown. Someone had removed it. I walked further in, feeling along the wall. The lounge glowed ahead, television murmuring. Then I noticed my workshop door. Closed. Padlocked. From the outside. My workshop. The room where I kept my drafting table, my surveying equipment, my father's tools from his days building bridges in the Hawke's Bay. I'd spent every Saturday morning in that room since retirement, restoring furniture, designing garden structures for neighbors. It was my sanctuary. I tried the padlock. Brand new. Brass. Not mine. I walked into the lounge. Gavin and Simone sat on the couch. Her legs draped across his lap, his arm behind her shoulders. Some reality show flickered on the screen. Neither looked up. "What's happened to my workshop?" Simone glanced at me the way you'd look at a fly buzzing near your dinner. "We needed the space, Keith. I'm starting an online business. Candles, aromatherapy, wellness products. That room gets the best light. That's my workshop. My tools are in there. Your tools are in the garage. We moved them this afternoon." I felt something crack inside my chest. Not pain. Something structural. Like a load-bearing wall being removed without consent. "You moved my father's tools? Without asking me?" Gavin finally spoke. "Eyes still on the television." "Dad, don't start. It's just a room. You've got the whole garage." The garage. Where his Uda already took half the space. Where Simone's boxes of unsold products from her last 3 failed businesses were stacked to the ceiling. "This is my house, Gavin. My workshop. You don't padlock my door in my own home." Simone turned her head. No warmth. No guilt. Just the flat confidence of someone who'd already decided the argument was over. "We live here too, Keith. We contribute. Things change. You'll get used to it." Get used to it. Like I was furniture being rearranged. Like 35 years of building a life in this house counted for nothing because she wanted to pour wax into jars. I stood there for a long moment. Then I walked to the kitchen, found bolt cutters in the drawer, and headed back to the workshop. Gavin was already on his feet, blocking the hallway. Don't move aside, son. His face went red. Something shifted behind his eyes. Resentment. Frustration. Something that had been growing since Simone moved in 2 years ago. You're always making everything difficult. Always with your rules, your precious routine, your bloody tools. This is our home too, and you treat us like tenants. You are tenants. You pay no rent. You contribute nothing toward rates or insurance. You eat my food and use my electricity, and now you've locked me out of my own room. The words hung between us. Then Gavin put both hands on my chest and shoved. Hard. My back hit the hallway wall. A framed photo of my late wife, Gavin's mother, fell and shattered on the floor. Patricia's face stared up at me through cracked glass. 3 seconds of silence. From the lounge doorway, Simone watched. She covered her mouth, but her eyes were bright. Excited. Like she'd been waiting for this. I looked at my son's hands, still raised. I looked at Patricia's broken photo on the floor. I looked at Simone's barely hidden satisfaction. Then I went to my bedroom, took the canvas travel bag from the wardrobe, the one I'd used for engineering conferences in Wellington and Queenstown. I packed clothes. My passport. Insurance documents. The property title with my name alone on it. Bank statements. My father's pocket watch from the bedside drawer. Gavin appeared in the doorway. Dad, where are you going? I didn't answer. Kept packing. Dad. Come on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to push you. Simone's voice drifted from behind him. Lazy, amused. Let him go. He'll be back by Thursday when the fridge is empty. I zipped the bag, walked past them both. At the front door, I paused. Looked back at the house I'd built with my own hands. The house where I'd raised Gavin after Patricia died of cancer when he was 12. The house where I'd grieved, healed, lived. Gavin stood in the hallway looking confused. Simone leaned against the wall with her arms crossed, smirking. Victorious. I closed the door quietly behind me. Stood on my own veranda in the warm Hamilton night. Pulled out my phone and called Murray Hatfield, my neighbor 3 houses down. Mate of 20 years. We'd fished the Waikato River together more times than I could count. Murray answered immediately. Keith. What's up? I need a place tonight. No questions. Come over. Doors open. I walked to my car, bag in hand. Behind me, through the lounge window, Simone was laughing, saying something to Gavin. My son nodded, settled back on the couch like nothing had happened. Like shoving your father was just another Tuesday evening. Murray's porch light was on when I arrived. He opened the door before I knocked, reading glasses on his head, stubby in hand. He looked at my face, looked at my bag, stepped aside. Spare rooms made up. Beer? I nodded. We sat at his kitchen table. The clock above the stove ticked. Finally I spoke. I made a mistake letting them move in, Murray. He waited. But I'll fix it. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Spare room's yours as long as you need. That was all. That was enough. I lay awake in Murray's spare room staring at the ceiling. Through the window, I could see my house. Every light blazing. After midnight, they finally went dark. I replayed the evening. Gavin's hands on my chest. Simone's bright eyes. The cracked photo of Patricia. My workshop padlocked shut. When had I become a guest in my own house? When had their comfort become more important than my dignity? The anger cooled into something else. Clarity. Cold, patient clarity. I picked up my phone, scrolled through old messages and photos. Stopped at Christmas 2 years ago. Simone, well into her third glass of wine, arm around Gavin. She'd said something that night about leaving Christchurch behind. About mistakes that wouldn't follow her. I thought nothing of it then. Bad flatmates, maybe. A business that failed. People say things when they drink. But now, sitting in Murray's spare room with a bruised shoulder and a shattered photo frame in my memory, those words shifted into focus. I set the phone down. Tomorrow I'd start pulling threads. Morning came overcast and humid. Hamilton in late summer. Murray left for his morning walk along the river, same routine for years. He squeezed my shoulder on the way out. Take your time, mate. I stood at the spare room window with coffee. Direct line of sight to my house. Around midday, cars started arriving. By early afternoon, at least a dozen vehicles lined the street outside my home. People I didn't recognize carried chili bins, bottles, platters of food. Music started. Barbecue smoke rose from the backyard. They were having a party. Less than 24 hours after pushing me out. Murray returned from his walk, found me at the window. What's going on over there? Celebration, apparently. He looked, saw the cars, people streaming through my side gate into my backyard. You're joking. Watch with me. He pulled up a chair. We sat together, two old men watching injustice unfold in real time. As evening fell, the party grew louder. People spilled into the front yard. Through gaps in the crowd, I watched Simone move among guests, animated, laughing. She wore a new dress. Bright orange. Expensive looking. The music pulsed. Someone brought out champagne. Then, around 8, Simone stepped onto the front veranda. She was drunk, swaying slightly. Someone inside shouted something. People cheered. Simone raised her glass. Her voice carried across 3 properties, through Murray's open window where I stood watching. Finally, the old fossil crawled away. This house is ours now. No more rules, no more lectures, no more old man smell. We're free. The guests erupted. Glasses clinking. Someone yelled, "To freedom!" Simone threw her head back laughing. Gavin appeared behind her, tried to pull her inside. She shoved him away hard enough that he stumbled against the railing. Don't be soft, Gavin. He's not coming back. This is our house now. My hands tightened around the coffee mug until my knuckles went white. Murray stood beside me, jaw clenched. Old fossil, I repeated quietly. Interesting choice of words. I set down the mug. Picked up my phone. Scrolled back through years of messages, photos, saved conversations. Found what I was looking for. That Christmas photo. Simone, clearly drunk, grinning at the camera. What else had she said that night? Something about Christchurch. About debts that weren't hers. About a man she'd left behind. I opened my laptop, typed Simone LaCroix Christchurch into the search bar. Murray glanced at the screen. What are you doing? Research, Murray. I spent 30 years as a civil engineer. I know how to investigate structures. Time to investigate hers. The party raged until past midnight. I was still at Murray's kitchen table, laptop open, notepad beside me, filling with notes in my careful engineer script. The first thread unraveled faster than I expected. Births, deaths, and marriages New Zealand. Public records. Simone and LaCroix married Liam Donnelly in Christchurch on the 14th of March, 2016. No divorce record. I checked twice. 3 times. Searched the family court database. Nothing. She was still married to someone else when she married my son. Next, social media. Liam Donnelly wasn't hard to find. His Facebook was public. Posts stretching back years. Desperate posts. Still looking for Simone LaCroix Donnelly. If anyone has information, please contact me. I scrolled through time. Posts about debt collectors calling. Credit rating destroyed. His landscaping business struggling because she'd taken out loans in his name. The dates stretched from 2018 through to 2 weeks ago. 7 years of searching. $140,000 in debt she left me with. Business loans, credit cards, a second mortgage on a house I thought was paid off. I just want justice. $140,000. New Zealand dollars. In a man's name, signed by a woman who then vanished. I photographed each post. Printed the marriage certificate. My hands were steady but my jaw was tight. This wasn't just leverage. This was everything. Each evening that week, I spread documents across Murray's kitchen table. He brought dinner without questions, but his eyes lingered on the growing pile. "You're building something," he observed on the 4th night. I nodded. A case. Like an engineering report. Evidence, measurements, structural analysis. I created a timeline on graph paper. Old habits die hard. 2016, Simone marries Liam in Christchurch. 2018, she disappears. Moves to Hamilton, reverts to maiden name LaCroix. 2019, she meets Gavin through a mutual friend. 2020, they marry, except she's already married, making their union invalid under New Zealand law. 2020 through 2025, she builds a life on top of a lie, in my house, on my land. She's a ghost, I told Murray. Living under false pretenses. But ghosts leave traces. What are you going to do with this? My answer came easily. Remind her that the past doesn't stay buried. Even in New Zealand. Thursday evening, 1 week after leaving my house, I drafted a message to Liam Donnelly. Rewrote it 4 times. The tone had to be right. Informative, not threatening. Clear, not desperate. Mr. Donnelly. My name is Keith Burgess. I live in Hamilton. I believe I found Simone LaCroix. She's been living here for 7 years under her maiden name. I'm not asking for money or making threats. I'm offering information because I believe you deserve closure. She's married to my son, though I've recently discovered her previous marriage to you was never legally dissolved. We should talk. I can provide proof of her location and current circumstances. I attached one screenshot from Simone's Instagram, posted 3 days earlier. Her at a Hamilton cafe, wine glass raised. Caption, living my absolute best life in the Tron. I hovered over send. This was the point of no return. I thought of Simone's voice. Old fossil. I thought of Gavin's hands on my chest. I thought of Patricia's photo shattered on the floor. I pressed send. The reply came 5 hours later. Past midnight. My phone lit up the dark room. Liam Donnelly. Is this real? I've been looking for 7 years. If you're lying, I'll go straight to the police. But if this is true, I need everything. When can we talk? I typed back immediately. This is real. I have marriage records, her current address, proof she's been here since 2018. I understand your caution. I'd feel the same. Can you come to Hamilton? We should meet in person. His response came within minutes. I can drive up this weekend. 5 hours from Christchurch. Where and when? Saturday morning. The River Kitchen on Victoria Street. 10 o'clock. I'll be at the back table. 63, gray hair, blue checked shirt. I'll have a folder. I'll be there. Don't let me down. I set the phone down. The pieces were moving. Saturday morning. Bright autumn light. I reached the River Kitchen 45 minutes early. Claimed a corner table with a view of the entrance. Ordered a long black, spread my folder on the table. Not open, but visible. At 9:55, a man walked in who matched the Facebook photos but looked 10 years older than his age. Mid-40s but appearing late 50s. Thin, hard-edged, exhaustion carved into every line. He scanned the cafe, spotted me, the folder. Our eyes met. He slid into the booth without greeting. Show me. I respected the directness. Opened the folder. Slid the marriage certificate across the table. Christchurch, 14th of March, 2016. Simone and LaCroix and Liam Patrick Donnelly. His hands shook. Where did you get this? Births, deaths, and marriages. Public record. No corresponding dissolution anywhere in the country. I slid the next document across. Wedding announcement from the Hamilton Press, January 2020. Simone LaCroix marries Gavin Burgess. My son. Liam's jaw muscles tightened. She told me she'd file for divorce. Said she needed space. Then she vanished. I produced the Instagram screenshots. She's been here since 2018. New identity. New husband. New life. Pretending the old one never existed. Liam told me his story over 2 long blacks and a silence that grew heavier with every sentence. They'd met in 2015. She was charming, ambitious, talked about starting a catering business. He believed in her. They married fast. Within a year, she'd convinced him to take out business loans. $60,000 initial investment. Personal loans for equipment. Credit cards. The business never launched. Always an excuse. Council permits delayed, suppliers fell through, timing wasn't right. Meanwhile, she spent. New clothes, trips to Queenstown, a car she needed for deliveries that never happened. February 2018. He woke up and she was gone. Wardrobe empty. Joint account drained. She took $18,000 in cash and left a note saying she needed time and would handle the divorce. Never heard from her again. Debt collectors started calling within months. His credit score collapsed. He nearly lost his landscaping business. Barely survived. Why are you helping me? He asked. I pulled out one more document. A photo Murray had taken from his window. The barbecue at my house. Simone on the veranda, glass raised, orange dress, laughing. This was taken 1 week ago. That's my house. The one I built in 1989. Simone and Gavin have been living there, taking over room by room. Last Tuesday, she padlocked my workshop. When I objected, my son shoved me. I left. The next day, she threw a party to celebrate. I tapped the photo. She called me an old fossil and said they were finally free. Liam studied the photo. So this is revenge. I shook my head. This is consequences. She took your money, your credit, your business. She's trying to take my house, my dignity. She leaves destruction behind and starts fresh. That needs to stop. We spent another hour planning. Everything legal. Everything documented. Liam would file for divorce and financial restitution through the family court in Christchurch. The marriage was never dissolved. Simone's marriage to Gavin was invalid under the Marriage Act. Bigamy carries consequences in New Zealand law. Before leaving, Liam asked, when? Soon. She's planning something. She thinks she's won. I want you there when reality arrives. I'll send you the signal. We shook hands. He drove back to Christchurch. I drove to Murray's, feeling the weight of purpose settling into my bones. 2 days later, I visited my own house while Gavin and Simone were at work. My spare key still worked. The one I'd hidden behind a loose board in the garage when I built the place. They never found it. Inside, the house smelled wrong. Simone's perfume everywhere. Furniture rearranged. My family photos gone from the walls, replaced with generic prints from a home decor store. Patricia's remaining photos boxed up in the spare room closet. I walked through every room, photographing changes. The workshop was now filled with candle-making supplies. My drafting table folded and shoved against the wall. My father's tools nowhere to be seen. Gone, I suspected. Disposed of. In the kitchen, I found renovation estimates. $42,000 for a kitchen refit. $25,000 for a bathroom upgrade. They were planning to spend money on my house. Money they didn't have. Then I found the email on Simone's tablet, left open on the dining table. A message from a real estate agent. Hi Simone. Great to meet you at the open home last weekend. Attached is the market appraisal for your property at your Hamilton address. Current estimated value $580,000. Happy to discuss listing strategy whenever you're ready. My blood went cold. She was planning to sell my house. I photographed everything and left. The following week, I sat in a solicitor's office on Hood Street. Philippa Crow, experienced property lawyer. I'd found her through the Hamilton Law Society. I explained the situation calmly. Son and daughter-in-law occupying my house without any formal tenancy agreement. No rent paid. Unauthorized modifications. Physical confrontation. Philippa examined the property title. Clear sole ownership, Mr. Burgess. Under the Property Law Act, you can issue a formal trespass notice. Given there's no tenancy agreement, they're essentially licensees whose license you've revoked. The process is straightforward. Start the paperwork. I want everything by the book. The trespass notice was served on the 1st of March. Formal. Notarized. 28 days to vacate. Gavin's calls started that evening. First message, Dad, what is this? A legal letter? We need to talk. This is insane. I deleted it. Second message, next day, Dad, please. Simone's furious. We don't understand. Just call me. Delete. Third day, this is ridiculous. You can't just throw us out. We've been here 3 years. We have rights. The shift from panic to anger. Predictable. I responded to none of them. Meanwhile, Murray's neighborhood intelligence network kept me informed. Simone was telling everyone I'd abandoned the house voluntarily. That Gavin and I had agreed they'd take over. She'd even had an interior designer visit to discuss converting the garage into a studio. I let her get comfortable. The fall would be harder. 2 weeks after the trespass notice, Murray delivered the perfect opportunity. Henderson's Barbecue and the neighbors on the corner mentioned Simone's invited half the street to a housewarming party. March the 22nd. Saturday. Celebrating the house being officially theirs. A party. Another celebration on my land, in my house. I messaged Liam immediately. March 22nd. Saturday evening. Be ready to drive to Hamilton. I'll send timing. I'll be there. 7 years I've waited. Remember. Nothing illegal. You're there to inform her about the family court filing. That's all. She's going to know the past caught up. That's exactly the point. March the 22nd arrived. Autumn had settled over Hamilton. Cooler evenings, shorter days. I watched from Murray's lounge window as cars began arriving around 5. Guests carried platters, wine boxes, chili bins through my front gate. Music started. Fairy lights strung across my back fence. From outside, it looked perfect. A celebration. New beginnings. Simone greeted guests at the door. New outfit. Hair done. Gavin beside her, less enthusiastic but participating. 7:30. Text from Liam. On my way. ETA 8:15. I replied. Front door will be open. Walk straight in. Find her. 8 o'clock. The party was loud. Bass thumping through walls. People visible through every window. 8:15. Headlights from the south. A truck pulled to the curb. Canterbury plates visible under the streetlight. Liam stepped out. Paused. Looked at the house. Lights blazing, music audible from the street. 7 years of searching, ending at a suburban barbecue in Hamilton. He crossed the street, walked up the driveway. A couple leaving the party held the door open for him, thinking he was another guest. He walked straight in and disappeared into the crowd. I leaned forward in Murray's armchair. Murray sat motionless beside me. Is that him? I nodded. For about 30 seconds, nothing changed from outside. Then through the windows, I saw movement shift. The music volume dropped. Conversations changed pitch. Bodies moved toward the kitchen. The music stopped completely. The silence was shocking after all that noise. Through the kitchen window, at Murray's angle, I could see Simone's face. White. Pressed against the bench behind her. Liam stood 3 meters away. Not threatening. Just present. A monument to consequences. Gavin pushed through the crowd, positioned himself between them. Confused. Protective. Words exchanged. I couldn't hear them. But I could see Liam pull papers from his jacket. Hold them up. Simone shook her head violently. Mouthed the word no. Gavin grabbed her arm, asking questions. His face showed utter confusion. Liam's voice rose. Fragments carried through the open windows across to Murray's house. 7 years. $140,000. Never divorced. Gavin dropped Simone's arm. Stepped back from her. She reached for him. He pulled away. Guests were leaving now. Quick goodbyes. Car door slamming. Nobody wanted to be part of this. Simone suddenly bolted. Not for the back door. Through the lounge, toward the front. She wasn't looking where she was going, pushing past confused guests. Liam didn't chase her. But his voice followed. You can't run this time, Simone. The family court has your address. The papers are filed. She burst through the front door onto the veranda. Stumbling in her heels. The new outfit disheveled. Mascara running. She looked around wildly at the remaining guests in the yard. Gavin appeared in the doorway. Simone. What is he talking about? Who is that man? She couldn't answer. Gordon emerged behind Gavin. I'm Liam Donnelly. Her husband. We married in Christchurch in 2016. Never divorced. Which means your marriage to her is invalid under New Zealand law. The words carried clearly in the now silent evening. Gavin's face went blank. That's not. We've been married since 2020. Liam nodded. Check the records. Births, deaths, and marriages. The certificate is public. While you're at it, ask her about the $140,000 in debt she left in my name. Simone made a choking sound. Ran down the veranda steps toward her car. Fumbled with keys. Dropped them. Picked them up with shaking hands. The engine started. Her car reversed out of the driveway too fast, nearly clipping the letterbox. Tires squealed as she accelerated down the street and disappeared around the corner. Gavin remained on the veranda. Liam beside him. Liam held out the papers. Legal documents from the Christchurch family court. Gavin took them with trembling hands. Read them under the porch light. His face went gray. This is real. It wasn't a question. Filed 3 weeks ago, Liam said. She owes me money. She owes me 7 years of my life. And legally, she's still my wife. Why now? Why here? Liam's expression was grim. Because someone told me where to find her. Someone who had his own reasons to want the truth out. Gavin's eyes widened. He looked around the yard, the street. His gaze swept past Murray's house. My father, Gavin said quietly. Liam didn't confirm or deny. I came to serve legal notice. What happens next is between her, me, and the court. He paused. For what it's worth, I'm sorry you got caught in her web too. But you deserve to know who you were really married to. Or not married to. Liam walked to his truck. Drove away. Gavin stood on the veranda holding the papers, alone. The yard empty. Party debris everywhere. Fairy lights still twinkling over nothing. He tried calling Simone. 3 times. No answer. Finally went inside. I watched him through the window, moving mechanically. Picking up abandoned plates. Throwing away cups. The motions of a man in shock. He stopped in the lounge. Sank onto the couch. Head in his hands. Murray broke the silence. Your son looks broken. I didn't move from the window. He chose this. He chose her over me. Murray's voice was gentle. He's still your son, Keith. I know. And there was something in my voice that hadn't been there before. But he needs to learn consequences before we can talk about anything else. The weeks that followed moved with the precision of engineering. Every piece measured, every load calculated. The trespass notice expired. Gavin and Simone didn't vacate. I filed proceedings through the district court. Hearing scheduled for late April. Liam's case in Christchurch progressed simultaneously. Simone didn't appear at the preliminary hearing. Her lawyer filed a motion to dismiss. The judge denied it. Discovery phase began. She had 30 days to provide financial records. Gavin called repeatedly. I answered once. Dad, please. This man from Christchurch, is it true what he said? Check the records yourself, Gavin. Births, deaths, and marriages. Everything's public. Silence. Then, you can't be serious about the trespass notice. Over one argument? You threw me out physically. You chose Simone over your father. Now you're learning who Simone really is. He hung up. 2 days later, Simone appeared at Murray's door. Murray blocked her entry, but she spoke through the fly screen. Tell Keith I know what he's doing. Using that man from Christchurch to harass me. I'll get a protection order. I opened the door myself. Faced her calmly. Liam Donnelly has every legal right to pursue the debt you left him with. That's between you, him, and the family court. I haven't harassed you. I've exercised my legal right to reclaim my property. Gavin is falling apart. He can barely function. You're destroying your own son. My expression hardened. Gavin destroyed himself when he chose your lies over his father's dignity. When he raised his hands against me. He's sorry for that. Actions have consequences, Simone. You've spent your life running from them. Gavin enabled you. Now you both face reality. She stepped closer. What do you want? I'll pay rent. Back rent for 3 years. Just drop the proceedings. I want my house back. I want my life back. You can't buy that. Please. The word was desperate. Gavin's talking about ending things with me. Your plan is working. I paused. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across my face. The image of Gavin on the couch, head in his hands. The court hearing is late April. If you're not out by then, the judge will order removal. That's the timeline. I closed the door. Murray said nothing, but his eyes asked the question. I'm not backing down, I said. But my voice had lost its earlier cold certainty. She's manipulating you, Murray said. Using Gavin as leverage. I know what she is. I sat heavily. But Gavin. I saw him that morning in his car. He looked. I didn't finish. Murray sat beside me. Like you broke him. I didn't answer. The hearing came on the 28th of April. District Court, Hamilton. Judge Rawiri Tuwio presiding. I dressed in a suit. First time since Brenda's retirement dinner, which felt like a lifetime ago. Philippa Crow presented my case methodically. Sole ownership documented since 1989. No tenancy agreement. No red payments. Proper trespass notice served with proof. Photographs of unauthorized modifications. Murray's written statement about the physical confrontation. Gavin and Simone's lawyer argued implied permission, long-term occupation, family arrangement. No documents. Only Gavin's testimony. Judge Tuio examined each piece of evidence. Asked me directly, "Mr. Burgess, why are you removing your son from the property? They took over my home without permission, made changes without consent, disposed of my late father's tools, and when I objected, I was physically assaulted. I left to avoid further harm and followed proper legal process." The judge didn't deliberate long. "This is clear-cut. Mr. Burgess Sr. holds sole title. There's no tenancy agreement, no documented rent, no legal basis for the respondents to remain. The trespass notice was properly served. I'm ordering removal. You have 21 days to vacate." Gavin's head dropped. Simone grabbed her lawyer's arm, whispering urgently. The lawyer shook her head. As we filed out, Gavin tried to approach me. Philippa stepped between us. "Dad, please. We have nowhere to go." I met his eyes. Saw the desperation. My voice was quiet. "You should have thought about that before." I walked away. Behind me, Simone's voice rose, blaming Gavin, blaming the lawyer, blaming me, blaming everyone but herself. Liam texted me updates through May. The Christchurch court ordered full restitution. $140,000 plus interest and costs. Total claim $178,000. Simone's lawyer indicated she'd file for bankruptcy. Gavin and Simone packed through May. I drove past occasionally. Watched boxes accumulate on the veranda. Furniture loaded into a hired truck. Murray heard them arguing in the driveway one evening. She was screaming that this was his fault, that his father had ruined their lives. He was shouting back about lies and fraud. On the final day, I waited until their vehicles were gone. Then I drove to my house. Used my key. Stepped inside. The silence was immense. They'd left it clean. No deliberate damage. But it was empty. My furniture was gone. Walls showed marks where their pictures had hung. Kitchen stripped bare. My workshop door stood open. The padlock gone. Inside, Simone's candle-making supplies had been cleared out. My drafting table remained, folded against the wall. But my father's tools were nowhere. I stood in that empty room for a long time. 35 years of memories echoing off bare walls. Murray arrived with his Uda loaded with my belongings from his garage. We spent the day moving things back. My leather chair returned to the lounge. Books back on shelves. The drafting table unfolded and set in its proper position. The gaps were obvious. The house was underfurnished. But it was mine again. Mid-afternoon, while arranging my bedroom, I found something Gavin had left behind. A framed photo from his childhood. Maybe 8 years old. Father and son at the Hamilton Gardens. Both smiling. Patricia had taken it, one of the last photos before her diagnosis. The glass was cracked. Frame bent. Discarded or forgotten in a drawer. I stared at it for a long time. Murray appeared in the doorway. "Found something?" I showed him. "He was a good kid once. He's still your son." I set the photo on the dresser. Face down. Not ready to look at it yet. But unable to throw it away. By evening, the house was livable. Empty in places. Still echoing. But mine. Murray left around 7. I sat on my veranda with a cup of tea, watching the street as dusk settled. The two-way sang in the kowai tree I'd planted the year Gavin was born. Home. The word felt both right and incomplete. 3 weeks passed. I settled into routines. Morning tea on the veranda. Afternoons restoring the workshop. Evenings reading, planning, living. Then my phone rang. Gavin's name on the screen. I almost didn't answer. Dad. I need to say something. Can you just listen? His voice was wrecked. Nothing like the son who'd shoved me 3 months ago. I'm listening. He took a shaking breath. I'm sorry. For choosing Simone over you. For not believing you. For pushing you that night. For all of it. Pause. She confessed before she left Hamilton. Said she'd been planning to sell the house after you died. Use the money to disappear again. Start fresh somewhere else. She talked about it like it was reasonable. Like you wouldn't need it anymore. I felt sick listening to her. I closed my eyes. She used me, Gavin continued. Used us both. I see that now. But I let her. I chose to be blind because it was easier. You tried to warn me and I called you difficult. I'm so sorry, Dad. Silence for a long moment. I accept your apology, Gavin. But accepting and forgiving are different things. Trust isn't rebuilt with one phone call. I know. I'm not asking for forgiveness yet. I just wanted you to know I understand now. What will you do? I'm renting a flat in Tirapa. Small. Working on myself. Seeing a counselor. Trying to understand how I got here. Good. That's the right thing. Before hanging up, Gavin asked, the house. Is it okay? Did we damage it too badly? It's empty, but intact. I'm rebuilding. I'm glad. You built that house with your own hands. It belongs to you. It always did. After the call, I sat with my cold tea. The conversation felt necessary but raw. Like removing a splint. Painful, but allowing healing to begin. In the weeks that followed, official documents arrived. Simone's divorce from Liam, finalized 7 years too late. Gavin's annulment processed by the family court, marriage void from the beginning. Simone's bankruptcy filing in the Wellington district. I filed them in a folder and put them away. Simone left Hamilton. Murray heard she'd gone to Australia. Running again. New country, new start. But this time with a bankruptcy and court judgment following her. One morning in late June, Murray stopped by for our routine coffee on the veranda. Winter had settled over the Waikato. Cold mornings, fog on the river. You won, Keith. Everything you set out to do. House back. Simone exposed. Legal vindication. I watched the mist lifting off the garden. It feels like justice. Cold, necessary justice. But not triumph. Gavin? Gavin is collateral damage. He made his choices, but I made mine too. I could have found a way that didn't break him. Murray shook his head. You gave him chances. He chose her. I know. But knowing doesn't eliminate the cost. We sat in comfortable silence. The two-way sang again from the kauai tree. I got my house back, Murray. I got my life back. But I lost my son in the process. At least for now. Maybe forever. Was it worth it? I considered this carefully. Ask me what would have happened if I hadn't acted. I'd still be living under their control, waiting to die so Simone could sell my house and disappear with the money. Or pushed out permanently, watching from a distance while they erased everything I built. I paused. I had no choice. Sometimes justice costs something. But injustice costs more. Murray nodded. What's next? You've got your house. What do you do with this new chapter? I thought about it. Live on my terms. Maybe do some consulting work. Guest lectures at Wintech, pass on what I know. Rebuild the workshop properly. Fish the river again. I paused. And leave the door open. Not wide open. Not unlocked. But not sealed shut either. If Gavin does the work, becomes somewhat honest and whole again, then maybe someday we can rebuild something. Not what we had. That's gone. But something new. Murray raised his mug. That's more than fair. We sat together as the morning warmed. The house behind us stood solid, reclaimed, quietly enduring. No fanfare. No celebration. Just a man in his 60s sitting on his own veranda, drinking tea with his mate, planning a future that was finally his own. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet as a closed door. Simple as a house key in your pocket. Profound as knowing you stood your ground when pushed and refused to be erased. Sometimes justice is just coming home. Let me share something with you before we go. What happened to me, it could happen to anyone. We love our children, and that love makes us blind. We open our doors, our homes, our lives, and we don't see the danger until it's standing in our hallway wearing a smile. Here's what I've learned. Never give up legal control of your property, no matter who's living with you. If family moves in, put it in writing. A tenancy agreement isn't cold. It's protection. For everyone. Know the person your child brings home. Trust your instincts. When something feels wrong, it usually is. And if you find yourself pushed out of your own life, remember this. You have rights. The law exists for a reason. Use it. Calmly. Methodically. Without rage. Justice doesn't need to shout. Most importantly, teach your children that love and respect go hand in hand. One without the other is just a word. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.